Today, I am quite baffled by people's taste in movies. How can someone give it a Holdovers an 8 out of 10? And how people can give this new movie called The Iron Claw an 8 out of 10 is really beyond me. Maybe of course people very much like that this is Zac Efron's first serious role, and that it shows real dedication in doing it. And people like all the heartwarming feelings of brotherhood and togetherness. Whatever it is, I think this movie is quite boring, and although I feel Zac does a decent role, it is not a stand-up performance. The biggest problem for me with this movie is that I'm walking into it expecting a story about wrestling that focuses more on the training and the matches, when it is really more about the togetherness and the brotherhood among the Von Erich family and their personal life. That's why many of the wrestling matches are filmed very short and often in montages, as they do not take center stage in the story, and that's something I think is a real problem, because I expect a sports movie more in the way of Coach Carter or Pelé Birth of a Legend, when what we really get is more of a biographical drama movie that focuses way more in internal issues and the serious stuff they are facing in a family. Like all the suicides that happen, most of the time from being pushed too hard by their notorious father, who would not let go of his dream and rather try to make his children live that dream through him. You do not even see when one of the brothers are fighting on tour in Japan, and that match when Kerry wins the championship is shown through the gaze from his mom on an old TV. You almost do not even get to see the game. So to me personally, I do not like the way it is portrayed, because it is all about the family, the internal issues between them, and the discussions between them rather than the sport they actually competed in. That's why characters such as Pam is allowed to take a more central place than they naturally should have had in the first place. Of course, I get that some people may relate to this tough love father and mirror themselves in the relationship he had with his sons. But nevertheless, when you run in the angle that this movie runs in, you do not really see too much of the wrestling industry. If it really was all that fake, or what they were doing were actually real, then the movie could be way more interesting, because this movie is not unique in any way. There's a lot of drama movies like this, for instance, in Traffic, or to mention The Holdovers, where it is not so much about the plot, it is more about the emotions between characters, and people seem to jump on it like flies into flypaper. To me, there's just way too many scenes, which are just filler scenes, like the ending when you show all the brothers in the presumed heaven scene, or the gathering for Christmas when one of his sons gives him a gun and expects him to shoot with it. To somebody, of course, a relationship between a competitive sports father and his sons may be interesting. The relationship between the brothers may be interesting. The relationship with the mom may be interesting, and the family as a whole. Nonetheless, when you downplay so much the sport they are competing in, but just focusing on the internal issues between them rather than the external, which is the sport, yes, the suicides and struggles and the pushed too hard art may be an important part of the story, but the sport should have taken more center stage. That's why I also see this as a weak movie, because it generally never feels like a true sports movie. People may label this as a beautiful story that connects with them, but to me this is just another one of those boring true story movies, and I will give it a 4 out of 10.